Welcome back, guys. We are back at it again. Another video with my hat again. I'm always wearing this hat. I noticed. I realized that I'm always wearing this hat in the videos.
Fuck it.
Should that be my thing?
The video fit. I feel like this is one of the few videos I've actually worn like a shirt that's not black.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing like just black tees every time, damn near.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whatever.
Yeah. I'd be looking like a cartoon sometimes.
It's called fashion.
Actually, I call it minimalism.
True.
It's kind of sustainable and based.
Yeah, you do minimal cleaning in this goddamn
Shut
room.
the fuck
You dirty
up.
bastard.
Shut the fuck up. Stop calling me out. They can't see it. I set this up perfectly so they won't see any of my mess.
True. It looks immaculate from the screen.
Actually, yeah. It kind of looks empty, though.
Yeah. You look like you have no personality.
Yeah, this is my room, by the way. I don't know if we ever, acknowledge that.
True.
Like, we're in my room. But, who really gives a fuck? But, just so you know that we're not in some random person's, room. It's my room.
Yeah,
We're
not mine.
creeps.
Yeah, we don't live together, so.
Yeah. Because he's
But,
lame.
maybe if people give a fuck, we could talk more about our lore, but
True.
our lore is tip-top secret for now. Unless you
Yeah.
know us, which is probably going to be most of the views,
Yeah.
is people that already know us.
You need
so.
security clearance to know about us.
All right.
But today, you want to tell them what we're
Yeah,
doing?
so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking an excursion to this vast landscape known as fitness and fatness.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be reacting to another
Fitness fat fucking.
today we're going to be watching another Jubilee video because we're milking them for content.
You're milking the
And-
fuck out of them. Everyone does it. And if you judge us, judge your content creator that you watch too.
You don't have to be insecure. Nobody's judging us.
I
There's
am
there's
insecure.
barely anybody watching.
I
it.
am insecure. I'm just being who I am.
True. You're
I'm true
authentic
to
self.
myself.
Anyway, we're watching Fit versus Fat on Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
It's caused a lot of
A lot of discourse.
a
for
lot
sure.
of controversial discourse, and I think there's parts that I disagree and agree with on both sides. So
Mm-hmm.
let's watch and we'll give our input. I feel like it's something that we both have a pretty good insight on, and yeah, so
And especially with us, actually, what's it called? Being like part of the fitness community, as in not as in influencers, but as in
Like we
the
work
viewers, the viewers, the commenters, the people that watch their shit.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people
yeah.
in the scene, and I say that because I know all these motherfuckers on the fit side.
Yeah,
I don't know
every
any of
single
these
one of them.
motherfuckers on the
Yeah.
fat side. But one of the guys on the fat side is a model, which is kind of
surprising.
I mean, he is a good looking guy.
The dude to the very right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
him.
the model. Yeah, I mean,
Some lumberjack looking motherfucker.
I think it's mostly the beard. He's got
He
quality.
keeps it clean.
beard,
Yeah. For sure.
Like
But-
you can't see his jugular fucking hanging off his
Yeah.
throat. But maybe I shouldn't be body shaming, because that's the whole point of this video, right?
It's kind of base thing to do though with a beard.
Right, to
It
hide your
hides the double chin.
yeah.
That's why I grow it out.
When I have the whole beard out, yeah, I'll let it go right under, at the bottom, but with a goatee, I just
Yeah.
expose myself, my fat fucking self.
True.
But
Anyways, let's
yeah.
watch the video.
let's watch.
Do you think just being in a fat body and being in the public space encourages obesity?
Yes.
Shame is what led me to an eating disorder.
Whose
when
fault is that,
what
though?
we're looking for is
Whose fault is that?
stability.
That's your
It's-
fault.
It's
See, the
an
problem is that you're a
amalgamation.
professional victim.
Would you agree, like looking at his physique, like he's at a perfectly, I would say, maybe healthy.
No,
You think?
he's definitely overweight, definitely obese.
I think it's hilarious how all the fit dudes, they just stood there and just.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
And all the fat dudes are just like, "Hey, I'm here."
Toodaloo.
I mean, I can kind of excuse it because it's supposed to be fit versus fat. It's kind of hard to tell with some people if they're fit, if they're actually really fit. Like, I didn't know Myron was fit like that.
Oh, I already knew that.
Yeah, which is the guy in the Fresh and Fit shirt, by the way, the black shirt. Is he Middle Eastern?
Yeah, some type of Arab, yeah.
Yeah, that's who we're talking about. He's like this red pillar. He's
Super cringe.
Yeah, somebody has craziest fucking ideas.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
yeah, I just thought that was funny how they were all just like, and then the fat dudes are just,
yeah.
hey. And
The only thing I'm saying is that it makes sense because it's kind of just to show that they're fit. Like if they with just their shirts on, you wouldn't really be able to tell. 1 second, guys.
But I'll now be moderating today's discussion between jacked men and fat men. Our first prompt is, I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body. Can our agreeers please step forward? Whoever feels compelled to start us off.
How do you feel about that question?
I feel like it's a really good question because it probes both sides very well, right? Because it could go either way, where like the one or both sides could say like, yeah, every time I see a fat body, I get disgusted, or I've been disgusted in my own body,
True.
in it being fat. And like I feel like that's a common experience for people that like, I mean, there's that one picture that someone took of you, and then you like look at yourself like,
Yeah.
holy shit,
Am I really that fucking?
is that me? Is my
Yeah.
belly hanging out that much?
On God, my
You know?
gut really that big?
My chin ain't there no more.
For
That's
real.
crazy.
I just grew another one.
Yeah, so
It
I,
is.
I feel like it was a very good probing question for like so many different perspectives.
I mean, even like me right now, like I'm not obese or fat. I have a little extra weight on me right now because I was off of the gym for like 2 months, and I've been going back consistently now. But and I'm slowly seeing it shut off more and more. But just the last video, where we watched, what was it? The Men Being Honest.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when I was looking at you to the side, and I was like, God damn, I got the slope of my neck is like not there. It's like an angle. It's like a triangle.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It doesn't like curve as hard.
yeah.
Yeah, because the fat.
Yeah, but I also know that like I don't beat myself up too much about it. But back in the day, especially when I was way overweight, when I was the same weight I am now, but just no
fat.
muscle, yeah. Oh my God! When I saw myself in the mirror every day, I just hated what I saw.
It was like a nightmare.
basically,
Yeah.
like actually,
This is not me.
yeah. This is someone is
Say on God.
Someone is psyoping me.
Honestly.
But you need nowadays, like even with, I used to beat myself up if I like went back up in weight, but now it's just like, well, this is just kind of a phase right now. I kind of just took a break from the gym. I just injured my shoulder too.
yeah.
Granted, I'm still going to the gym, just not stressing my shoulder out too much. But
And weight fluctuation is completely normal, you know.
exactly. That's
But-
I'm trying to view it in a more healthy way because I think it's important. Because if I just beat myself too much about it, then I'm not really gonna go back to the gym. I'm gonna be self-conscious when I go to the gym. I think everyone's gonna be thinking the same thing, which no one is.
Yeah,
no
nobody
one gives a fuck. Yeah,
Nobody actually gives a fuck. Unless they're an
win
asshole.
moment. Anyways, yeah, true. Actually, which I am. So I
Yeah.
think everyone else thinks the same way as me. But
Yeah, no. Every time I see someone who's like overweight or like obese at the gym, I'm like, yeah, this is where they need to be. That's what I like to see. Like
It's, like,
someone trying to
admirable.
make a change. You know, yeah. I feel like that's most people's point of view. But
100%.
we
And
just
it's
like
not even
scare
one of the-
ourselves because we judge ourselves so much more than anybody else does. We project our own negative thoughts of ourselves onto other people.
100%. And it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, you're super fat, so you have to be here. It's,
And you're worthless if you're not.
yeah, it's one of those things where you got to look at yourself and realize, even like with when I was my skinniest, I still think like I could improve. You know, that's why I went to started weight training. That's why I started gaining muscle. And now, like, my body's completely different. I went, like, through 3 phases, 3 different changes, right? From, like, fat to skinny with little muscle. Like, I look great. Like
Compared to what you were,
yeah, especially. And now, after 2 years of consistently weight training, my body changed a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
And I gotten a lot more different compliments because of that. Before it was like, oh yeah, you lost a lot of weight, you look good, and then it went to, oh yeah, you look big, oh you you have like a wide frame now.
Yeah,
like you look good.
Yeah, I get that all the time,
Oh,
every
yeah.
day, actually,
every single day.
damn near.
I still get it to this day. Like you're a god. You're actually just a Greek god.
They're
You're
like, oh my
perfect."
god, James.
Actually, they say that to me too. They call me James. But I think it's really important. Jokes aside, to view yourself in a more healthy manner, regardless if you're overweight or not. You just have to look at it as a phase, or not even just a phase, just something that you could change. And we are not perfect. No one's perfect. We could always move forward to being better. Is how I view it. So that's how I would answer this question. I have felt disgusted by looking at fat people. But I think that stemmed from that was projection, right? Of how I felt about myself as well.
Yeah, but to an extent, this might be fat phobic or whatever people say. But when I see someone who is super overweight or obese, I'm like you don't care about your own health. That's to me is really sad.
Yeah.
Not to say it's disgusting. I don't think that, but it's really sad.
Because there's proven health defects from it, right? There's disadvantages, I should say, not defects, but it just.
It's I wish I come at it from you could be treating yourself so much better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I wish you would.
And you deserve it.
Yeah, you deserve better. But yeah, that's a matter of perspective as well. Some people just think, oh, it's fine, it's whatever, you know.
Yeah, but let's just watch. We've been yapping.
Yeah, we're yapaholics.
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat.
Okay. That's a great start. I mean, I know why you say that, but it's one of those things where, do you know why you're saying that?
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline, it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of temperance, and when you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
When I see somebody who's 500 or 600 pounds, all I can think of is, why do they care so little about their health that they can do this, allow themselves to gain that much weight, knowing it's taken 20, 30, 40 years off their life? I just can't imagine not wanting to live that badly.
I understand that. No, it's I've definitely felt disgusted looking at my own body.
I just want to say, not saying what he just said, not wanting to live that badly is a wild statement.
Yeah, because
It's
I don't
kinda
think that's how
wild.
they see it.
Because another thing I wanted to say was, that people have this perspective of, oh, people just got fat like that overnight or some bullshit like that, or oh, how are you gonna do that to yourself? Well, it's complicated, but it's very reasonable, how this happens, right? I think Destiny talked about it actually. Some streamer that we watch. If you know him, you know him. But anyways, becoming obese doesn't happen overnight, and it happens over
A lifetime.
a lifetime.
It's a lifetime
of
of
habits.
habits.
Yeah, exactly. Of bad habits that you built as a kid that you are more than likely not able to break. Most people aren't able to break those habits. Even for us, right? We did not eat very healthy growing up.
Yeah,
And-
but because we would work out from wrestling and weightlifting and running, those three things all on top of each other, was we were just calorie burning machines, you know.
And we were teens. We were growing.
yeah.
So that's another thing that we were burning even more calories because of that. But because, unfortunately for me, like I said, I used to be overweight. It was after wrestling that happened. Because I
Because of
didn't
the
build
same
any
habits.
I didn't build any healthy habits. During that whole time, we were still eating like shit.
Yeah.
And so I still just kept that pattern going, and it just kept building and building and building. So
I mean, a lot of people are like that, though.
Yeah.
It's really easy to, lose control. Or, lose control, but, I guess you would have to have control in the first place to lose control. Because,
100%.
like you said, it's like a whole lifestyle change.
and plus, most people don't view it as losing
And
control.
I think
It's
that
just how they
when
eat.
when you're someone who's just so used to this lifestyle, you don't even see it as a wrong thing, you know. And there are things that people say that I think they say in this video, it's calories in, calories out, right? And I feel like that's easy to say, but it's so
Super
reductionist.
easy to say.
It's super, yeah, exactly. But it's so reductionist to the point that to absurdity. It's like it makes no sense to people because you're not really giving them the proper tools to learn what it means to be in a calorie deficit. You know, what it means
100%.
to have like increase your NEAT, like things like that. BMR. People
Yeah.
don't know what these things are,
Yeah.
and without knowing that kind of stuff, and like what does it mean that I live or I work a sedentary lifestyle?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like a lot of people live a sedentary lifestyle and they don't even realize it. And
And it's hard to break out of that if that's how you've lived your whole life too.
Yeah, so-
like you've built all these habits of like eating shitty, not being very active, and even like you know how I was back in the day, like when we were younger. I would always complain about parking so far from the parking from wherever we were
yeah,
going.
you want
Right?
little steps as possible for some
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah. I was like, I would always be like, oh, there's a parking spot right there that we just was. But then when I went on my weight loss journey, I actually parked as far as possible.
Yeah.
Every single fucking time.
Yeah.
And
that seems like nothing, but in the long run,
it
building
builds,
you're building
yeah.
like the foundation for healthier habits.
and plus those little calories accumulate too, because if you're doing it
Of course,
consistently, it just
yeah.
accumulates. Life hack right there.
Unless you're walking to Del Taco or some shit.
Yeah, some bullshit.
Yeah, but
Because I would do that when I would go to work. I would park as far as fucking possible. I remember people would be like, "Where did you park?" And I was like, "Yeah, over there." And they're like, "Okay, well, later, bro." But yeah. Anyways, that's my 2 cents about it, and his obviously. But who gives a fuck about James? He's only this is my channel anyway.
Body and looking at other fat bodies in my life. A lot of the disgust I felt looking at people was me feeling disgusted with myself and then projecting that feeling onto other people. And I don't think anyone on either side will disagree that health is important. I know that my own mental health was way worse when I was spending every fixate of my life trying to get smaller and trying to be thinner.
I don't think there's anyone that can look at somebody 500, 600, 700 pounds and not think, wow, what have they done? And not be disgusted. Like, how can you not? I just can't understand
You can't
nobody
assume that
thinking
everyone has the same opinion, though, because unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, oh,
Boo-hoo,
because
man.
they're fat.
Boo-hoo, man. Like, there's way worse stuff going out in the world versus people saying, oh my God, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat some ice cream. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. It's ridiculous to me that we have all these fat people running around. Meanwhile, people are being bombed in Gaza. It's ridiculous. We are so privileged here in the United States and in the West in general. When I see a fat person, I'm like, wow, you got the gift of life. You got the gift of being in a developed country, and you're a fat POS talking about body positivity on TikTok? What the hell is going
But now
on
you're
here?
segmenting, though, because not everyone thinks like that. What do you
No, we
call
need
it?
to bring shaming back.
Okay.
We need to bring shaming back in so many other regards besides obesity. We need to do it with sluts. We need to shame.
So the thing I like about Myron and what he's saying right now is like this. There's this idea of like, you have control of everything that you do, you know, and I think the stuff that I've heard him say before is like, you need to take accountability for all your shit. You're ultimately the decider. You have control of every morsel of food in your mouth, like I think he just said. But the thing I don't like about what he says is that, what was he just saying?
He's basically saying that like you're a worse person because of it, and like there's no excuse, and he was extrapolating because of that. You're basically he was basically calling people crybabies for it.
I feel like there was something else I was gonna say. Hold on. What was he saying? There was something he said that I wanted to reply to. Fuck.
Well, while you're thinking about it, right? There was this. What I will say is there's elements of truth of what he said. Like you can control what you put in your body, and we are in a very well developed country as well. And there's like so many options. Granted, there are food deserts somewhere, in many places, but even in places where there isn't, that there's really no excuse. I get it could be hard to find healthier options. And sometimes if you do it wrong, it ends up being not healthier, ends up being more expensive, right? And that makes it hard for people. But you have to know what to look for. You have to know what is the cheapest option, like most bang for your buck for like a high protein, low calorie meal, right? Like chicken breast is really great, but even just normal chicken thighs, chicken wings, it's still good. It's better than a fucking burger, you know?
Yeah, like some fatty red meat.
And even when it comes to other things like ramen, as long as you're keeping track or at least acknowledging how much it is, and then you just add little things to it to make it more voluminous. I don't know if voluminous is a real word. Add more volume to it, but minimize the calories from that. Then you have a decent meal, and it's cheap too. So there is some truth to what he's saying, but what I mentioned before, there's just he's morally loading it so much. Like you aren't I don't think you're a bad person for doing that, especially if you don't know, if you don't have the tools for it too.
Yeah, and one thing I think, this is what I wanted to say earlier, is that one thing that he doesn't take into account is things like genetics. Like he does like some people. Well, one of the things that I've learned that I try to stress to people nowadays is their appetite. Your appetite is very much genetic, and people don't realize that. Like people will have a large appetite for like a small window of time, right? Like how many skinny people have said, oh yeah, I eat so much, and it's like if you actually watch how much they eat, yeah, they might eat one big meal for the day, but that's it. And it's like, or maybe one big meal and a small meal, or like maybe small snacks or something, but that's about it. But then when it comes to like people who are overweight, the thing is that they're hungry, and then they're hungry, and then they're hungry, and then they're hungry, you know, and like
sometimes you do it because you're bored, and
and it becomes a bad habit, and so like someone like that dude who was just responding to Myron, like what do his habits look like? What does his appetite look like? What's his basal metabolic rate? Like these things are like, how much does he step? Like it's for him to just say like, oh well, you're just not doing it right. It's like, well, maybe he's doing some of the right things, but not all of the right things, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's so many different like hacks that you could do, not 100%. Hacks or like tricks that you could do that make something you already eat regularly, change it a little bit, and then you have less calories, and you start building better, more and more habits to slowly lose the weight, rather than just being like, just count your fucking calories, you fat stupid fuck.
Yeah, actually. There was one thing I wanted to say. I forgot what it was, though.
Oh, and he's too harsh. Like, why? No. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. That was the main thing that I wanted to say, actually. If bullying worked, nobody would be fat.
Actually.
If bullying worked, nobody would be fat. And the fact that he's
how
saying,
many times have you
bullying.
told me when I was overweight, like, bro, you need to lose weight? And we're pretty blunt with each other, right?
But we're the type of people who that kind of thing is gonna work for.
But even then, it still didn't work with me. I was still overweight for like years, right?
Yeah, true.
So it still doesn't work. Like this is anecdotal, but like you said, if it worked, then everyone wouldn't be fat, right?
Yeah, there wouldn't be fat people. People get bullied for being fat.
Like
all the
I
time.
could take that.
Like he's so like that's the most retarded shit I've ever heard. Like we need to bring bullying back. Like fat people don't get bullied already for being fat. Like it's constant.
Yeah.
It's like that works.
Like there's this weird. He's bought into this weird idea that everyone's like, oh yeah, you're a king. You look perfect the way you are. Like everyone's saying that.
Yeah, he thinks everyone's a fucking snowflake. It's like no. Like people are harsh out there.
Yeah.
People are harsh.
People are mean. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Give it to us all. We can take it. Don't worry. All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah. We're barely.
Do shame fat people. We need to shame everybody when they fuck up, because shame has been one of the strongest defenses against degeneracy and human fuck-ups.
You had a personal experience you wanted to share. You said you used to be overweight. Now you're not.
Oh yeah. So I did an experiment back in like 2015 where I like bulked for like almost 2 years, and I got up to like 250 pounds, and then I dieted down. It took me about 7 months. I systematically did it, controlled my calories, tracked my macros, tracked my protein, carbs, fats, and systematically lost 1 to 2 pounds per week.
So you chose to gain up to 250.
Yeah,
you were
so
naturally
I've been in all
beforehand.
spectrums. Like I'm naturally skinny.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna get fat as an experiment.
Yeah.
Did it, and then I was like, all right, now I'm gonna lose the weight. And then all I did was just track my calories, ate the same food every single day.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and everything was controlled, and it got done. Was it monotonous? Of course. Was it boring?
No,
Of
yeah,
course.
I agree with you there. I am naturally this way. This is with working out 4 or 5 times
That's
a week.
not true.
This is
No,
100%
you
true,
can't.
bro.
Nah, bro.
No,
Come to the gym with
it's
me.
not.
This is
It's
me
not
working out.
natural at all because at the end of the day, if you don't lose weight, by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're gonna either maintain or gain weight, and that's the problem is that people don't track their calories.
And that's true, but
One thing that he doesn't get, well, maybe he does. Maybe he's choosing to be to disregard it. But one thing that I've considered and have learned about is this genetic set point that everyone has. Everyone it has this capability of how fat they could get. There's a reason why someone like you or me. I don't know why I said you or me, but anyways, like I don't think we could get to 600 pounds, even if the hardest we tried.
Yeah.
Right? There's some people that have like that genetic ability to get to
Yeah,
there.
they have more fat cells.
Someone like our skinnier friends too, like they probably wouldn't be able to get to our weight just purely through fat, right?
Yeah.
They probably need a combination of muscle and fat to get there. And there's also a comfortable weight that our bodies tend to like to be at. For me and you, it's around somewhere around 200 to like 250.
Yeah.
And that's like really easy for us to be in. But getting under 200 is so fucking hard, and it's so much work for me and you. I'm sure it was a lot of work for you, right?
Yeah, I haven't even gotten down to 200. I'm
Yeah.
at 215, and I'm hoping I could get to 200.
Yeah.
But like, I think he did acknowledge the fact that, well, he says it without really realizing it. He says he's naturally skinny.
Yeah.
And then he talked about bulking and on purpose gaining weight. People don't gain weight. People don't want to be fat fucked, you know. And the fact that he said, "Oh yeah, I'm naturally this way. I chose to do an experiment, gained weight, bulked to 250," which is kind of crazy. And he probably had to force himself to get
100%.
I could get to 250 like light work, easy,
Yeah, easily.
And
I got there basically
On
the
accident.
the same way that this guy's saying naturally. I just started eating, stop giving a fuck of what I ate, because that's just what most people do. They don't really give a fuck about what they eat, and then I just got up to 250. It's not like, oh, it's like, okay, I need to eat this much to get up to that weight. It just kind of happened.
and you didn't force it down.
Not at
For
all.
a lot of these skinny
If
people.
anything, I was indulging it. I was
Yeah.
fucking loving it. You know?
Yeah. So I missed those times.
I'm good.
But what's it called? Like for skinny people, it is hard to gain weight, and they have to force the food down. I know people like that. It's like I can't. I eat so much. This is already so much food. It's like, yeah, they have to do tricks that are opposite to what we would need to do, right?
Exactly.
So what we do is like we stop drinking our calories. We look for low calorie options of things like mayonnaise. We look for low calorie options of like proteins like fish, chicken. But like someone who's trying to bulk,
and then high volume things with low calories like watermelon, popcorn, right?
yeah, exactly. And then if you're a skinny guy that needs to gain weight, it's like you have to do the opposite. Drink as many calories as you can. Eat fattier foods. Not so much. Like don't be a fat fuck, of course, but like
Not so much to worry about like
moderation.
diabetes and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But like you get a shake and then put olive oil in it. That it adds so many fucking calories just instantly.
that sounds ridiculous. But
It is a way though. A lot of people that are really skinny, that's what they do. These motherfuckers that
it's probably flavorless, huh? The oil.
yeah. It's usually like olive oil or some bullshit like that. I mean, olive oil and any oil really is
It's
just
pretty good, honestly.
it's
I drink it straight.
true. Isn't that what Italians do? But
Pretty much. Jesus.
that is like one of the most calorie dense things. Like you could drink that, but one whole bottle. I don't even know. Like a little thing will probably be like 2,000 calories. I would guess
Well,
around.
1 tablespoon of fat is 14 grams of fat, which is like 119 calories.
Yeah, we'll check this. I'm gonna check this afterwards. How many calories is in like 1 tablespoon of olive oil?
I already looked it up the other day. It was 119 calories in 1 tablespoon.
Jesus,
Just one little
Christ.
bloop. And
Is it tablespoon or teaspoon?
tablespoon.
Okay, yeah. A tablespoon is a decent amount when it comes to other things, but
Well,
like
if you're cooking, but if you're eating it, it's like
yeah,
it's
that's
still
like
pretty
nothing.
easy.
That's
But
like nothing. Yeah.
what's it called? I went to Jersey Mike's the other day with Cynthia. We both got the giant fucking subs.
She got a giant sub.
Yeah, she hadn't eaten yet, so she still had a lot of space to eat. But we both got no cheese, and I got no oil, but she got it with oil. And the total calories was mine was 1,000, hers was 1,500,
Jesus.
just with taking out the oil. because they get the bottle and just.
Yeah, and that's literally adding no volume.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
literally just seeps into the bread.
Exactly. That's what I was telling her. It's like stuff like that is so easy because olive oil isn't a bad fat. Avocado oil isn't a bad fat. Things like that, vegetable oils aren't going to be bad for you. Like, they're not clogging you. Especially if, like, you're someone who's not eating enough anyway to gain some weight.
Yeah.
It's like adding some more fat isn't. I mean, people do keto, and they're not unhealthy. You know, it's a perfectly healthy way to live.
Keto.
Well, not perfectly healthy, but still, people.
That's for another video that I want to talk. I want to talk about that.
Higher fat diets are reasonable. They can be healthy.
Like keto or just
higher fat, not keto
not
specifically.
Keto, okay.
No,
Yeah,
like as they can still eat carbs. Like if they ate like 30% carbs.
Because I want to say this right now, keto is not good for you in the long run. But I'll talk about that in some other time, especially if you guys are interested in what that is. It biologically just isn't good for you. But anyways.
Yeah, like if you just have a higher fat diet, it's just not going to be that bad for you if you're eating your fruits and vegetables
100%.
and just like drinking water, like doing the normal stuff, being at the calorie range that you need to be at, not too high, not too low. But of course, for people like us, a higher fat diet just isn't really doable because it's easy to just scarf it down and just be hungry like the next.
It's so easy.
Few minutes.
And one good sign that a fat is a healthy fat is if it's solid at room temperature, because that means it's fully saturated, and fully saturated fats are good for you. That's why avocado is good for you.
They cook in the oil too.
Yeah, and like I don't know about butter. I think it is because I'm pretty sure you could sit it out in room temperature. But it's the unsaturated fats that are bad for you because they also. Like, if you want to get in the nitty-gritty about it, like, biologically, chemically, the fact that they're unsaturated is they're more prone to, like, certain health defects. So I would generally...
That's so
nitpicky that if you really want to get into it. But
most people aren't going to give a fuck. But, yeah, like...
I personally would say that just stay away from, like, unsolid fats, forms of fat, basically. But anyways...
watching?
Yeah, we're going to watch a little bit more, but then we'll probably call it after that.
Yeah, because only about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
People burn at their resting metabolic rate a different set of calories.
Doesn't matter.
Let's not get too granular right now. Ragini, it's going to be one of those episodes, right? Let's bring in the disagreeers and hear from them.
Okay, so the reason I disagreed, especially when I heard the statement, I don't think I'll ever look at somebody based on their situation and think that I'm disgusted. Like, if I see somebody that's a drug addict on the street that's homeless, I'm not disgusted by that. If I see somebody that's incredibly overweight, I'm not disgusted by that. Do I think that there's an opportunity for growth? Do I think they've been put in a disadvantageous position that's probably makes it harder for them? Absolutely. I think I'm kind of an empath, so when I see somebody, I know that there's things underlying, and one of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. And just seeing how hard he tries and then reverts, it's almost more tough for me than to be like, oh, that's disgusting, you know? And I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that. So like, I know what it feels like on the other side to like look the way I do and get people look at me like, ugh, that's gross to like have that muscle. And to go back to that point, like you came from a fit place and like deciding to bulk, like that's a conscientious decision to gain weight. Like you already have those habit routines and skills in order to stay in shape, and then you use those same skills you had to pull back on the calories and knowledge you had.
The reason why I use that example is that you can get fat and lose the weight if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge and everything else like that. It's just about consistency over time. So it's like, I look at it like...
let me cut you off, because here's one thing that you just said.
Yeah.
You had the tools. So there's people that don't have the tools that you've passed judgment on, and you have failed to realize that with the tools, people are very much capable of achieving amazing things. But
okay, let's talk about said
no,
tools.
hold on, I'm not done.
Why you cut me off
I'm
before,
not done.
remember?
And I stood over there and I listened to you, and I was like, it's a ton of bullshit too.
Sure.
But we're gonna address this, right?
Yeah.
You are passing judgment on people who lack the tools to do what it is that they need to do to get themselves to a certain point of health. There are multitudes of factors that weighs into what goes on with somebody's body. There are people that even if they work out, losing the weight does not come as simple as just going to the gym, cutting calories, watching everything that you eat. There are some people that have a disposition. I have a disposition. But does that mean that I'm not active? Does that mean that I'm not doing certain things? No, it doesn't. But you're passing judgment on somebody's body that you know nothing about. Now, on the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're small as compared to these other guys. So how does that feel if someone comes? No, because you said shame. Right?
You know what I find disgusting?
What?
The fact that the moderator is wearing Crocs right now.
Okay, so we both watched this video already. This is my second time watching it. I did not notice that at all.
I didn't notice it at all either because I was listening to the video. I didn't watch it all. I don't have the time to just sit here and mosey around just doing bullshit, watching videos all day on YouTube. I'll listen, but I'm busy. You know, I got shit to do. I gotta increase my NEAT. That's how I keep this slim body.
What does NEAT stand for, motherfucker?
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, bitch.
What does BMR stand for?
Basal metabolic rate.
Shit. I told you these things. I told you these things. Brick by brick. I built this shit. But anyways, in all seriousness, Myron does have some good points, but so does the other guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name was. I forgot it, but you are able to get the tools, even if you don't have them right now. If you really, really care about it, look it up. It's that simple, really. It's all on there. It's all out there. That's what I did. I didn't know how to do it just right off the bat. It was just a fucking natural to me. I looked things up. I actually watched this guy in the blue, Greg Doucet. He gave me a lot of tips just watching what he says.
Same.
He has really good tips, solid tips. When it comes to like other things like outside of fitness, I don't really agree with him. But when it comes to fitness, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
it's what helped me in my weight loss journey. And so it's all out there. It is out there.
But people gotta look out though, because there's a lot of ideologies when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's like people who like we were just talking about keto earlier. People swear by keto. People swear by OMAD, 1 meal a day. People swear by like no carbs, no whatever, like or low pro or high fat, whatever. People have all these different ideas of like what it means to lose weight, what it means to burn calories, what it means to go on a diet. You know, and for me, the one thing I wish people would have a mindset change on is it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah,
a lifestyle change is what's gonna what's gonna get the weight off and keep the weight off.
That's the thing too, is when you hear the word diet, you have to change like the perspective you have of it, because then when you think about a diet when it comes to a person, then you just think, oh, this is this short-term thing. But if you talk about like an animal, like, oh, what's their diet like? You think about how they eat and what they eat normally. But you need to change that perspective to you as well. It's like, oh,
I'm an animal that has a particular diet.
You need to change how you eat in general, not just now.
Yeah, because and the thing about people's perception of a diet is they're going on a diet. Yeah. Meaning that they're eventually going to come off of it.
Instead of changing their diet.
Instead of changing their diet, exactly, yeah.
But it's also, like, I realized that after watching so many videos, too, you know? That isn't just something that popped up in my head. And another thing, too, is, what was I going to say? There's something else I was going to say, but I fucking lost it.
One thing I did, and one thing that I've been keeping in my mind these past few months, is this quote I heard. It was just some random quote from like a judge from a court case that was some political thing that I was listening to. Mm-hmm. And the judge was scorning another dude, or man or woman, I forget who, but they're about not being prepared. And the judge gave this fire quote. He said, "Prior preparation prevents poor performance." And I think I did that before even hearing that, because what I did when I first started losing weight is I went onto my computer, went into my notes, planned out, okay, BMR calculator. Okay, I got that. Okay, how many calories in a day can I eat? okay, I'm just gonna stick to 1 calorie count every day that I could stick to,
Yeah.
instead of this bullshit like this many, or whatever. So
Yeah.
and then I started planning out, okay, what's one meal I could do? What's one meal I could eat every day that's low calorie, high protein? And then eventually I started getting used to it, learning like, okay, this has this many calories, this has that many calories, and then I was like, then eventually I went back, planned some more. I was like, okay, what are macros? Looked up what macros are, learned what macros are, and then started planning out meal preps, because that was like my next step. It was a step-by-step process. It wasn't just,
It wasn't
I didn't
overnight.
just like figure it out one night. I had to look this stuff up, and that's why I'm saying that you have to look it up and try different things, try
Yeah.
a bunch of different things. Like,
And one thing I was gonna say, I remember it now, is one trick or tip I would give, not trick, a tip I would give about when you're looking on what to do and what to follow, is if something is being super restrictive on what you can eat, like you mentioned earlier, like cut all your fats out. That's ridiculous. Cut all your carbs out.
they're
That's
probably
ridiculous.
bullshit. They're probably full of shit.
Yeah, if you hear some super restrictive shit like that, it's probably a bunch of BS, because most people can't live like that for the rest of their lives. That's the key, is having something sustainable that you could stick with. That's what helped me, and that's why I didn't just fucking balloon up, you know.
Yeah.
Even when I wasn't being super adherent to being strict with my diet. But I think that's a good spot to end it. If you have any other tips and tricks to give people, or if you have any disagreements, if you have anything else to say about what we said, anything you want,
Comment
that was
down below.
interesting, yeah, ring that notification bell. Send it to your grandma, send it to your dog, your cat especially. Send those cat pics. Anyways,
And thank you for coming to my channel,
yeah,
and come again next week, where we post every Wednesday and Saturday. Hopefully.
yeah, something like
Usually.
that.
If not weekends, at least, and Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly.
So
See you later.
keep an eye out and stay amazing.
Deuces.